Hi, Gene here with today's thought, which, well, we'll call it a thought in progress because we have to wait for this thought to ripen a bit, maybe. But, well, you may remember from the Trump administration for 2 or 3 years, there were ways that we had to hear over and over again. The walls are closing in. The walls are closing in on Donald Trump. Well, initially because he was supposed to have colluded with the Russians to influence the 2016 election, and that turned out to be a hoax. But that was only the first in a whole series of the accusations and attacks on Donald Trump that never panned out. But we had to hear this phrase over and over: the walls are closing in. Well, for us conservatives, our day may be coming. Our day may be coming when we will be able to say that the walls are closing in on Joe Biden and what I call the Biden crime family, and two scandals that are so big that I don't think, and so easy to prove, and I predict they will be proved, that it's going to be hard for the media to bury this, the mainstream media, mostly liberal media. I believe CBS has already reported on one of these, but there are two scandals. I'm just going to give you some, brief updates on these two scandals and why this could be a little Schadenfreude for us conservatives. So the first one, former CIA Deputy Director Michael Morell, consulting my notes here, he had testified under oath that, well, you remember the Biden laptop, or Hunter Biden laptop, how the New York Post published a story. It was a scoop, and Twitter buried it, and the liberal media said, well, they cast doubt on it, and the casting of this doubt included a letter signed by 51 former intelligence officials saying that the letter had all the earmarks of or indications of a Russian disinformation operation. So what we now learn is this former director Michael Morell, he's one of the 51 who signed this letter, but he testified under oath that, see, I thought, I'm sure all of you did too, that this was a spontaneous decision, that this was the idea of the intelligence officials. One or more of them said, I'm writing this letter, and invited others to sign it. But no, it turns out that he was urged to write that letter by none other than Anthony Blinken, the current Secretary of State. But at that time, he was working for the Biden campaign. So you see the irony here, because Trump was accused falsely of colluding of trying to influence his 2016 election. We now know that this is election interference, illegal election interference, no doubt about it. So that's why I want to see how the media are going to handle this, because election interference, they deliberately planted a false story to influence the 2016 election, no doubt about it. So that's scandal number one. Scandal number two, this recently came to light from an IRS whistleblower. This was a criminal supervisory special agent, and who has been overseeing the ongoing and sensitive investigation of a controversial subject. Now, you don't know the whistleblower's name, you don't know the controversial subject, but this thing, a very reputable website. Well, it's been reported in the New York Post and by a conservative, full disclosure site, called Just the News, justthenews.com, justthenews.com. Great site, by the way. But run by a gentleman, I believe it's John Solomon. He's won prizes for his reporting. I mean, he's a very accurate reporter. So anyways, the FBI and the Justice Department are putting their thumbs on this scale of investigating things things that could affect the Biden administration, that could reflect badly on Biden. And we won't talk about criminal charges, but we'll talk about that could hurt his chances of being reelected if he runs, as it looks like he's going to. He's supposedly be announcing Tuesday, the day after you're seeing this video, that he intends to run. And people are speculating that he may be announcing at that time specifically to draw attention away from this whistleblower. Now, what he's saying that you're wondering that this Hunter Biden investigation, it's been going on. The David Weiss, the attorney handling it over in Delaware, it's been going on for, I think, 5 years. I've heard several years, and you may wonder, why hasn't this case been gone to court, or either say there's no case here, or conclude there's no case, that Hunter did nothing wrong, or get an indictment and move forward. And it looks like, according to this whistleblower, because the FBI, and well, especially the Justice Department, are impeding the efforts of this lawyer, the attorney in Delaware, to go forward with the trial. And the problem is, the reason this person is coming forward, and I'll say why you don't know his name right now, I'll explain in a moment, but hopefully we will soon, and why the Hunter Biden hasn't been specifically named by. It's the lawyer for this whistleblower is the one who's been doing the interviews and talking about it now. You'll see why in a moment. But he, according to him, and according to new people who have investigated, that it's almost certainly Hunter Biden that they're talking about. And the reason that the whistleblower is coming forward, according to this lawyer, is because a high official in the Biden administration testified under oath before Congress, that gave a testimony that under oath, that completely contradicts what this whistleblower has seen, and this is the important part, and can document, has documents. It's not just his word against this official and against the White House. And it's been reported now in several places. There's no doubt. I mean, I could be proven wrong. Hasn't been named yet, but it looks pretty certain that official is Merrick Garland. And the testimony, because going by what the testimony was, and he was the one who gave this testimony, but he was specifically asked by Charles Grassley, a Republican senator, whether the Justice Department was interfering with David Weiss, and Merrick Garland said no. He said the problem is that Weiss is in Delaware. His jurisdiction is in Delaware, but the tax evasion was reportedly, if it occurred, was in Washington, D.C., and in one state, in North Carolina, South Carolina. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. The point is that Weiss doesn't have authority to bring an indictment in those other jurisdictions, and why he needs permission. He needs permission from the lawyers and the attorneys in those jurisdictions. So Garland was specifically asked whether Weiss would be able to bring charges in these other jurisdictions, and Merrick Garland testified under oath that he can, that the Justice Department would make sure that he would have the authority to indict wherever he wants to. This whistleblower is saying no, that is not true. He knows from documents and from his personal experience that that is not true, that what Garland said was not true. So either he did not know that Weiss didn't have this authority, or he knew and lied under oath. And there's another question that people have asked that has come up, that Weiss has, or if Weiss were appointed a special counsel, then he would have the authority to go anywhere, would not need anybody's permission in another jurisdiction. So he was asked about that, and Garland, well, so far, no, he wasn't asked about that. But what I'm saying, Garland, Weiss has asked for that authority, and it's always been not denied. He wants to be named the counsel, a special counsel, and it's been denied. So that's what we'll have to see. And now the reason why we don't know the names yet, but I would predict that we'll know within the reasonable future. We don't know the names of either the whistleblower or the high official whom he's implicating as possibly having committed perjury. The reason we don't know is, well, the lawyer, this person's lawyer is the one who's been doing the interviews and speaking, and he's made it very clear that this person, the whistleblower, wants to testify, but wants to testify before a bipartisan committee, so there would be Republicans and Democrats who would be able to question him or challenge him, right? Which is what the Democrats, I would predict, would do. But the reason he hasn't come forward yet, he's come forward, the reason he hasn't identified himself yet, or what specific information he has, is because, well, the lawyer says he's a dedicated professional, and not only that, but his job in the IRS he was a supervisor. His job was to train other agents in in tax law, the proper procedures. So obviously he does not want to break those procedures himself. And the cardinal rule that we should all support, never mind these unlawful releasing of Trump's tax returns. You may remember that, but tax information is private. You can't just put it out there in public. He cannot just go before a committee and testify. If he does that, then he's committing a crime himself. So he needs permission from Congress. The Senate can authorize him to reveal the information, to be able to talk about it, and to name the official, and so on and so forth. So that's what we're waiting for, just to get permission. The lawyer has been speaking with the relevant people in Congress. Dick Durbin has already said that he's taking this very seriously, which is one reason why I think the news media are going to have a hard time burying it, because you're going to have hearings, it looks like, and even the Democratic chairman of the Judiciary Committee is going to take it very seriously, he says. So we'll wait and see what happens. But that's my thought for today, and I hope I'm right that the walls are closing in, and that we'll get to say the walls are closing in on the Biden administration. Not only that, but to be able to say the walls have closed on the Biden administration, the Biden crime family, because that's one thing that the Democrats were not able to say, because the walls never closed in, because there was nothing there. But it looks like there is something there this time with the Bidens. That's it. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would be great. Longer than usual vlog, I know, but that's how it goes sometimes. A lot of stuff to cover. If you could subscribe, that would be great. I look forward to seeing you again. Until I do, bye.